Good afternoon, everyone. Meadowcroft here again from CROFTi, and I've got the amazing pleasure to have Emil on the call today. Emil, so thanks very much for joining us.
You're very welcome, man.
I'll let Emil introduce himself in a sec. But as you guys know, we've been doing a series of COVID, discussions around how this has affected different businesses and opportunities. And what I'm super excited about, I'll let Emil go into detail soon. But I've just been amazed at seeing all his posts on all the social media channels the last few months and how they've just been booming. So I'm really keen to dig into that. Before I get into it, though, just to give you guys a concept, Emil and I have been trying to meet up for catch up for coffee for about 3 years, and it just hasn't happened because we've been so busy. And it's the way that love it. And so it's the way the world works. And obviously now we're in remote lifestyle, so now it just makes it easy. Anyway, no further ado, I'll pass the mic over to yourself, Emil, and if you could just introduce yourself and give the viewers a bit of background on who you are and what you do.
Okay. I normally say I'm a personal assistant to all of my staff that are working for me, and just kidding. I'm Emil, and I'm the CEO of NGU Group. Part of NGU Group, we have different companies. And one of the companies we do have a multiple real estate offices with more than 100 staff in that business alone. We also have our own media company, and we also have our own tech company, law firm, and property development business as well. So we do have, and also financial planning as well. So all up, we have about 200 staff in the company. That I am the donkey that is, I guess, running it. So yeah, company was started by myself from scratch, and we are here today in a good space.
How many years have you been running? Sorry, how many years in total?
Well, I'm 41 now. I started my business when I was 18 years old. So I've been running my own business for 23 years. I never worked for anybody in my life, period.
Never had another job, even before starting their own company?
Never. I never worked for somebody entire life. Never, ever worked for anybody all my life. And I'll tell you why.
Wow, that is super interesting.
My father used to work for the boss, and my dad used to work for somebody all his life. And I thought to myself, you know what? I want to be the boss of my own journey. I want to be the one that's going to craft my own path to, where life takes me. And I knew that it's going to be challenging, but I'm happy I chose it that way. I'm the boss of my own journey, I guess.
Yeah, well, I was doing a quick snoop into your personal website, and I love the quotes that you got there, by the way. But one of the cool things I read was around how all the mistakes you've made in business, and we'll get into that in a sec. But I guess typically a lot of people make mistakes in other people's businesses before they start their own company, right?
Yes.
Super interesting that you said this, and I love that we're having this casual coffee catch up, because I love learning about people, their adversities they've gone through. You've gone, you would have had to make all the mistakes in your own businesses. You couldn't push that back and fail for someone else. You actually had to fail internally. So that could be a whole hour just on its own, man.
Literally. Look, to be honest, I always say to any young individual, it's not a bad thing actually going to work for somebody extremely good, and learning from them, learning what works, what doesn't, what mistakes they make, so you don't. So there's nothing wrong with that. With me, I just went all in and I started climbing that wall on my own. And obviously, as you start climbing, you do make mistakes as well that are costing you instead of somebody else, if you were learning from somebody else for some time.
Yeah, cool. I love the fact that you've been able to grow this organization. I guess the perception from the outside world, and obviously you got 4 or 5 different businesses or entities under the group. The perception, and especially from my point of view, it's always been the real estate. It's been the property game. It's been been the main go-to, or maybe that's the pretty stuff that you put on social media. But I like the fact that you've been able to entangle that with the other aspects that you need when you're building a real estate company or selling property. And so it's cool that you've been able to build that underneath.
Well, to be honest, I only started real estate 4 years ago. And the reason why I decided to start a real estate business 4 years ago, for a few reasons. One, because when I was developing luxury homes all over Brisbane, I used to deal with a lot of real estate agents. And one thing that I always hated, I hated the fact that I felt that real estate agents don't understand construction and they are selling it. And two, I felt that real estate companies are not moving ahead with times, because mobile phone has changed the way we do business, the way we market anything. And I thought to myself, you know what, there's a massive gap in the market that new player can come into town and kind of not revolutionize anything, but just take advantage with all the places that we can market properties, that we want to put on the market, for example. And we started 4 years ago, and now we got multiple offices in 4 different cities, all thanks to marketing online.
You made a really good point, man. You're not reinventing the wheel here. You're just using technology to your advantage.
No, it's like Tesla. Tesla didn't invent car. The people been making cars for the last 100 years. He just obviously found his niche that he became really good at, and right now Tesla is the most valuable company in the world, or most valuable car company in the world.
Yeah. And so I guess the point before, and you made this very early on, and so I'm going to probably stick to this conversation for a bit, is you said that you're like a PA to all your assistants, for example, because you're not a real estate company, you're not a legal firm, you're like, it's like this whole group of scenario. Where do you see yourself? How do you explain who you are as an individual? Your go-to kind of like 60-second pitch.
Well, look, to be honest, running a business, it's very important.
You've just muted 1 second. You've just gone mute. Let me see if I can.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yes, you're back. Yeah. There we go.
1 second.
I
lost you there for a second. I cannot hear you.
I think we just.
I cannot hear you.
Okay. Alrighty. We've just dropped out. I think there's a good old work from home technology. Let me just see if I can get him back on board. Bear with me. There we go. Coming back in. There we go. Can you hear me? You coming back in?
I can hear you perfect now.
Perfect. Good old technology, hey?
I always say technology is always good for us, but it can have small issues as well.
No, not at all, man. This is the life we live in now, right? Everything's remote, everything's online. We don't really need an office as such anymore. It's a whole different conversation, but we're just accepting and adapting and changing as we need to.
The funny thing is, you say that, and somebody else told me yesterday, Emil, you don't need office space anymore. And somebody said it to me, and yesterday I literally did a new fit out in my office. Last thing that was done was for me to put additional 28 brand new desks in the middle of the office. So as much as people are saying, you should be working from home, which I do agree, I literally just spent a bit of money.
Like a lot of money. Yeah.
A lot of money on actually redoing my entire office, which is it's not a bad thing, I guess. I wanted to make sure that my office feels like home for all the people that are working within my office.
Yeah, and honestly, this is a topic of conversation. People are saying, do you need an office? Do you not need an office? Should everyone just go work from home, get rid of all your leases? The big conversation, though, is culture. How do you sustain a really good, amazing culture when you don't physically bring people together? And there's pros and cons, and I've read so many articles and so many podcasts on this, and there's no answer just yet. But I'd love your opinion on this, since you have 200 staff.
I love my head office here in Brisbane. My head office, we have about 30 staff here, and I always say, to have a good work environment, you need to give people a few things. One, let people be creative. Let them be creative. You don't want You don't want to employ people and just tell them what to do. Everybody's smart in their own way. So I like to let people be creative. And two, I really like to give people freedom to come and work anytime they want to work in the office. So if they want to work from home, yeah, do so. If you want to be in the office, well, you're welcome to work from the office as well. So to have a good environment, you simply have to employ good people. People that are good humans, that have a good energy, that are positive thinkers. That's the people that you want to have around. And if somebody's negative, simply eliminate that ASAP. Otherwise, they can bring the entire team down. And our team is relatively young. I'm literally one of the oldest people in my business, besides my full-time accountant that is sitting literally a few meters away from me. We just like to employ people, I guess, that are creative, a little bit crazy.
You're saying the younger generation are more creative than the older. Is that what you're saying?
We got no fear. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Older you get, more conservative you become. But when it comes to being creative, young people, they just simply, got no fear to explore different ways of being creative, I guess.
No, 100%. We see it all the time, especially going into really mature organizations that are, say 50, 70, 100-year-old businesses. The staff have been there for 30, 40 years. The whole place is just stifled. There's no creativity at all. You mentioned you made lots of mistakes. Now, you probably have been asked this question 1 million times, so apologize in advance. What is the number one key mistake that you think has been the biggest shift in your mindset over the last 20 years in business?
I think big mistake that us as humans make, we trust people too easily, and we also get disappointed too easily.
I totally relate.
I think that's one of the mistakes that I made. I used to trust people so easily. Now people need to earn my trust to do business with them. That's one thing, and which is very obviously crucial the way I see it. And also learn how not to be disappointed. So a lot of people get disappointed in people. I just take it all as normal these days. I don't get disappointed. If somebody wants to excuse my French, screw you in business, just get used to it. Most people are there for themselves, not for others. So you don't want to get disappointed and have a bad day because somebody wants to do something wrong by you.
Is there any particular key point in history that like majorly you were screwed over in business, or had this really good relationship with a person?
When I'll tell you what, I started my business when I was 18 years old, and I built a quite large business, and I literally got burned by people when I was age 30, and I lost pretty much everything when I was age 30 as well. Everything that I worked so hard for 12 years. Now, the biggest issue is that I had at that time, I used to blame other problems and other people for anything that has happened to me. Till I realized that, everything that ever happened to me, it's my fault. Even if somebody screwed me, it's my fault because I let them do so. Till I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, everything that ever happened to me, if it's bad, it's my fault. Till I admitted that to myself, I wasn't able to move forward. When I did, I moved forward. So with me now, when it comes to mistakes, I don't even call it mistakes anymore. I just call it as a great lesson. As long as I learn from it and don't make a mistake.
Don't do it again. Yeah.
So I don't see anything as. Of course, we make small mistakes every single day, and we make sometimes these decisions that we shouldn't make. But to be honest, right now, I actually don't see anything as a mistake. Just see it as another lesson to keep climbing the wall and keep moving forward. Simple as that. What's the point of banging your head against the wall because you made a mistake? You didn't mean to make a mistake. All you were doing is just giving it a go and trying. And that's not really a mistake. And if you fuck it up, excuse my French, every now and then, well, so be it. And if you tried and had good intentions to make good things, it's really not a mistake, if you ask me.
Well, at the end of the day, you can't make mistakes if you're not trying different things, right? So you've got to be inventive, you've got to be creative, you've got to be thinking differently. And if you're not pushing the boundaries, then you won't make those mistakes.
Go for it. Just go. You just have to go for it. Don't hold back. You want to try something, just try it. And
love it.
There's no such a thing as a successful business person that didn't fail or made mistakes. And but what counts is how many times you got back up and kept moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely love that. So let's jump into the topic of today, which is all around COVID. Now, obviously, it sounds like you just been pushing boundaries, and since COVID happened, I'm going to probably just assume here, thinking ahead, it's just oh whatever, let's just deal with it and move forward. But I'd love to hear from your perspective how your industry and I guess I was thinking more about the real estate industry, but this is about the 5 different companies you've got, for example. How they've been affected differently, how you've been able to overcome these challenges, and what does post COVID look like. So let's start with that beforehand, because obviously you would have had no doubt a big game plan. What your 2020 looked like, and what you're trying to achieve, and obviously COVID here, and that would have no doubt brought it back a bit. Take it over.
Well, look, I guess the businesses that I'm running, we are very blessed that we are not in a business where we were completely gone. If I had a restaurant and, I wouldn't have a choice but to be hurting completely because there was no other way to recover. You just had to shut your business down. When it comes to everything that I'm involved with, certain businesses, we, decreased our revenue, but we were not completely closed. So I'm blessed that we were in a business where, we could still work. And so some businesses that we have did slow down a little bit. And but I'll tell you one thing that I've learned 10 years ago, I always run my company that I'm prepared to run my business without receiving any revenue for 2 years. So 10 years ago, when I got financially burned, I had a game plan. When I create a successful business again, that I'm going to create it in a way that my business can be safe for whatever happens for at least 2 years. And I'll tell you why. We are living in society where we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Today we had coronavirus, in 2 years or in 12 months, you might have something else. Now, hardest thing in business to do is to find good staff, right? Good people. That's the hardest thing to find. So with myself, I have amazing team of people that are working with me. Now, just imagine if I let go 50% of my staff that took me so long to find at first place, and staff that have been so good to me, it's not fair that I let them go. So we were very blessed, touch wood, that we didn't let anybody go. Even we did slow down for a couple of months, but we were prepared for it. What coronavirus allowed us to do is to be more creative. How do we make sure that our business can survive through any kind of virus that comes our way? And we thought to ourselves, look, we have 2 options. One, coronavirus can beat us down and we can really go and hide. Or 2, how do we actually take advantage of coronavirus and be more creative to move forward? So we chose option 2, and we started becoming more creative and being ready when coronavirus does pass. How can we really go hard and be the first one in business to recover?
And it sounds like that because of the way your mindset is wide anyway, it's a challenge, and you have to go and push through that challenge and be creative in that way. And obviously you want to keep all your staff employed. I'm really curious about the conversation you had with yourself, though. Obviously 10 years younger, when you did get burnt over, and you're like, I need to have 2 years of sustainable income in the bank. Now, is that I'm curious around the concept of having cash in the bank versus having, I guess, equity / property that I can easily quickly sell if I need to inject that cash back into my company. I'm curious where that mindset went and how you build up that 2 years worth of resilience.
Cash is king. Look, I am always involved in property development. And when I got burned 10 years ago, one thing that I always wanted to make sure that I always take calculated risks, and calculated risks to the point where if anything does go wrong with my business, that I can always survive. And yes, having properties sitting there, no property can be sold and settled in 1 minute. So it doesn't matter, if I own a $2 million home or $22 million home, even if it's completely paid off, it still takes time to put it on the market, to sell it, and then to have a settlement. So it's always important that you're in financial position where you actually got cash sitting there. And to be honest, I love sitting on cash. I love having money in my account for 2 reasons. One, for whatever unexpected comes my way, and 2, for also the opportunities that come my way. Because all the properties that I buy, I always offer people cash contract, quick settlement. That gives me good negotiation power, I guess, to have a good property deals.
Do you think this is also from the background of being Eastern European, growing up there and going through that environment, do you think?
Look, I came to this country as a refugee. So everything that I ever made in my life, including me sitting in my own office that I own, don't rent, everything I made it myself on my own. I didn't have a father that said, son, there you go, $10 million, play with it. Because I earned it myself, I respected more and appreciated more. So for me to lose everything that I've worked so hard for, it's a big deal. So I'm always fighting for everything that I've worked so hard for. I didn't just inherit it in 2 minutes, and if I lose it, who gives a fuck? I earned it, and I care.
Absolutely love that. I guess it's close to my heart, right? So my sister married into a Croatian family, and so sorry, sorry, what was that? No, well, you sometimes have this open conversation, but being around the culture and being around, I guess, his parents obviously immigrated here when he was a kid, so having the Croatian and the Eastern European background, I'm interested in this type of conversation because you can see a lot of resilience come out of what they had to go through, right? And even to offer the ability for someone like yourself to be able to move to a country like Australia when the country is failing. So yeah, I guess that's where my comment was going towards, and I love the fact that you've just built up this big sort of resilience, and everything you do is you appreciate and you respect along the way.
Let me put it this way: I have one life, and I'm going to die one day. There's no question about that. I want to live my life to the best of my ability, do things that make me happy. If it makes me happy to work 24 hours a day, I will do so. And with myself is because I understand that I have only one life, I'm just doing everything that makes me happy every single day. So I don't want to waste my life being miserable, being unhappy, or if I do have a coronavirus, so fucking what? Coronavirus is there. I can cry about it. I can beat myself, go home and cry. Or you know what, Emil, what else can I do to be more creative so we survive coronavirus? And that's what I choose to do. Because tomorrow we're going to have something else. Who knows what? So what? Am I going to cry again? F no. Keep moving forward. Learn the best way to deal with situations like that. And that's just that. It's life. Nothing is easy.
Absolutely love it. That is the best spirit like you could ever have, and this is why you're so successful, right? And I guess yourself, and you probably don't see yourself as successful. Actually, that's a really good question. Do you see yourself as successful, or do you have like this absolute journey that you want to hit and you want to succeed and you'll never get there, so you never see yourself like that?
You know what? I'm very successful, and you know why? Somebody asked me, what's success to you? I'll tell you why I'm so successful. Success to me is you being able to control your own mind. That's the ultimate success. Now think about this. For you to be able to control your own mind, because your mind is your best friend and your biggest enemy. With me, I'm in control of my mind because I'm a positive thinker. I don't let any negativity beat me down. To me, that's a success. Of course, I feel that I'm in a good space. I'm in a good point in my life where I am, I'm financially okay, I guess. But I don't measure my success by what I drive or where I live or what office I own. I don't measure it by that. I measure it by how satisfied as a human I am, how happy I am, and how I control my own mind. That's why I'm successful.
Let's go back 10 years then, when you lost absolutely everything. Can you remember what your mindset was like back then?
Same. I don't let anything bring me down or beat me down. I work with my head high. If I have $100 million in my bank account or negative 100, I hold myself up the same way. Because most people judge somebody based on how much money they have, what kind of business they have, what kind of car they drive. And if they lose everything today, they judge them as nothing. To me, I'm the same person. When I had a lot of money, when I got financially burned, and now when I'm in a great spot again, I'm still the same person. Bottom line, that's just that. I walk with my eye, same way all the time.
Love it, love it. I can relate so much because I have this conversation so often, and I think, and I guess that's why I probably initially connected with you, because I just feel that vibe. I feel the same way. I think the same way, but it's so hard to connect with people that are in that same mindset, right? Because so many people think completely opposite of that, and people go, "Oh, it doesn't, what are you trying to achieve, and how much money do you?" I was like, "I don't give a shit about money. It means nothing to me." It's
I don't do anything for the money. I happen to make a lot. I do not do anything for the money.
Yeah.
I don't do anything for the money. I literally don't. I just like being happy, man. I like running my own shit, creative in my own way. I like working with amazing young people in my office. And to me, that's just amazing. Money coming, it gives you certain luxuries in life and gets you to enjoy certain little boy dreams, if you call it like that. But, I don't do anything for the money.
Yeah, cool, love it. All right, let's talk about let's go back into COVID, if you don't mind, and I'm curious of time. I want to make sure you're not running late for your next meeting. So when we're talking about COVID, obviously before, it sounds like before and during, it didn't really affect you guys too much. Do you typically have a 12-month or a 3-year plan in place? Do you normally work month to month? Like, where does your mind sit, and then how did that affect? I guess, how did COVID affect that, and what does the new plan look like?
Okay, COVID only affects people if they have a short-term plan. Everything we do, I do things with 30-year plan, not 1, not 5, not 10, 30-year plan. And when you are on this long journey, having small hiccups is just, it's just small little bump in the road. If you are creating business that you just want to flog in 12 months time, of course, COVID-19 can affect you in a way. But to us, we are thinking 30 years ahead, and COVID-19 is just a little bump, on the road when you're driving your car.
Yeah, cool. Love it. So in other words, it hasn't changed at all. Yes.
That's very important, that people see it that way.
I see you got around for a meeting.
No. It's just I got electrician in my office doing some work, and he just wanted to ask something.
Yeah, nice. So, yeah, cool. Now, so I've already. This is one thing I've really struggled with, and going off topic here, but coming up with a 30-year plan, or like some really insightful people come up with like a 300-year plan. I've always struggled with this personally. Is how do you come up with a long-term plan? And I don't know if you've always had this natural ability, but actually thinking long-term and actually putting that on paper and going, actually, where do I want to be? Where do I see myself? And what do I kind of want to achieve? Is that a natural thing, or does that take effort to actually build?
Anything worthwhile takes time to build. I mean, think about Rome. Rome wasn't built overnight. It took centuries to build Rome, and now it's been there for about 2,000 years. So anything worthwhile takes time to build. Also, I wanted to always create a business that can last troubled times, and business that can move ahead with times, and business that can last times. And I was never interested in creating a business that I can just have for 12 months time and get out of it, unless it's a tech company, which we have interest in. But look, with me is personally, I always had a vision, and my vision is to keep bringing the best out of myself all the time. So I didn't have a 12 months goal or 2-year goal. My goal was just to keep bringing best out of myself. And I wanted to create a company that's going to be here for a very long time. So,
yeah, cool. Nice and simple. I guess we're always thinking it's got to be detailed, and it's got to be conceptual.
I keep everything very, very simple.
Yeah, cool. One last thing, and I know you got to run, but the challenge conversation really interests me, right? So it sounds like that you've always got to be challenged to always push your boundaries. Does that relate to what you're thinking? Like, if you're not challenged, you get a bit bored, get demotivated.
No, I don't let myself be demotivated ever, because I don't want to waste my life, because I'm not going to live like a dinosaur. Even if I live like a dinosaur, we'll still die one day. So I don't like to waste my day not being creative, productive, and so on. So I like to be challenged. It's great. It keeps you going, challenge. Otherwise, life would be boring to do the same thing every single day, just be okay with things. No, let's push things to inches higher, see how far we can go.
So do you have a next big challenge that you're trying to want to aspire to or want to achieve, or is there any major ideas that you want to bring to life?
Look, we have I'm working on something quite I would like to think big. That there was a business idea that I had. I actually, believe me or not, had 2 days off during COVID-19 and came up with tech idea in my head. The next day I put it into life, and now I'm working heavily on it. That is actually massively taking shape right now. That is exciting me, and but I'm keeping this to myself at the moment.
Okay.
It's
live. Tell. That's all right.
It's live out there, but not many people know I'm involved.
Yeah, well, this is we live and breathe the tech space, man. So this is a conversation. we'll have it offline, but yeah, it's cool. That's exciting. Okay, this is really interesting, because when you start going down the innovation world and the tech world, do you find yourself thinking more about that because you've started that process and that creativity around the tech space compared to your traditional business?
No, you see, that's a mistake that a lot of people make. Mm-hmm. They end up having a new idea and they forget about existing business. Now, existing business is what got me to place where I am today and allows me to be creative and launch new ideas. But I can never forget about existing shit. It's like having 2 children. Not that I have any kids, but if you have 2 children that are 10 years old and then you have a baby, what, are you going to forget about your 2 kids and just focus on the new baby because she's all new and cute? No, you pay attention to the new baby because she's so cute or he's so cute, and you also pay attention to your 2 existing kids. You can't just let one go.
100%. That is the number one key reason we see a lot of people not succeed when they have new concepts and ideas, because of that, exactly what you just said. It's you go off for the fairies and you love it, but the thing is about tech, and you'll experience this now. It takes time to develop. Like, it's not something you can come up with an idea next minute it's live. It's like selling. You can't go and sell a real estate, for example. You're not selling a house that already exists. Yeah. To sell a product that you're developing could take 12 months, could take 2 years, could take 3 years, right? And so it's a completely different world.
Tech world is a very dangerous when it comes to investing money into it. 1 in 100 tech companies make it. The concept that we came up with, we were testing it first for some time, and when we saw that this idea does have legs, testing stage was done well, then we moved it into next phase. And next phase, it's live now, and over last 6 weeks, we had 500,000 people on the platform that we created, which is not a small number.
Yeah, nice. All right, well, we won't go into detail now. Maybe we can do another session once you're allowed to announce it to the world, if at all. But yeah, cool. All right, man, appreciate it. Any last comments you'd like to talk about? Because obviously COVID, so these conversations go on, well, how's your business been affected to COVID, and what does it look like?
My thing is, my advice to anybody, don't pay too much attention to COVID. There's just a small bump. Focus on what will make things better. If you constantly think about COVID-19 and how it is affecting your business, it's just going to bring you down. You need to focus on how to move forward from COVID, not how to be stuck in it. That's that. Absolutely love it. Amazing thought process to finish. Now, if anyone can just adapt your mindset and run with it, that would have an amazing world. All right, mate. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much for being on this live. You're welcome, man. You have a good day. Let's talk offline. Cheers. Bye.